Hello, everyone. Welcome to Steven Shinder Reviews in video form. I'm a couple days late on this, but it's the holidays, so But yeah, talking about a Doctor Who Christmas special that just came out, Joy to the World. Now, since it's been a couple days, I assume you've probably seen it. If not, I really liked it, so go and see it as soon as you can. And I'm gonna be talking about it without being vague about the spoilery details, I guess. But yeah, I thought this was one of the better Doctor Who Christmas specials or even holiday specials. We've had Christmas specials from '05 to 17, and then we had New Year's specials after that, and we've even had a couple Easter specials over the year before going back to Christmas specials in this era. And while the one from last year was pretty much the beginning of the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday's travels, the beginning of basically the ongoing main series there, this one kind of goes back to the format of some of these holiday specials feeling more standalone. And I've seen some people be kind of harsh on this, but also praising this special. Now, with holiday specials, I kind of give a bit more leeway because I feel like they have, for some of the time, more of a chance to sort of do their own thing and not have to be super important. Like, I remember when Legend of the Sea Devils came out, lots of people were really harsh on it, and I guess it was because it was Jodie Whittaker's penultimate story, but I went in to an Easter special expecting like just a fun adventure, which I thought it was. But yeah, this is another one written by Stephen Moffat. Earlier this year, he wrote the episode Boom, and this is he wrote the last Christmas special of the 12th Doctor's era, Twice Upon a Time, which is my favorite Doctor Who Christmas special and one of my favorite Doctor Who stories. And a couple years before that, Husbands of River Song is another top tier one, I'd add. So yeah, I feel like my likes of each of these different specials, it kind of varies. Last Christmas is probably at the bottom for me. It just felt like there were multiple times in that era um, when Clara could have been written out, and yeah, so there's that. But yeah, I thought that A Joy to the World might be one of the better Christmas specials, even if it doesn't surpass or quite reach the level of Husbands of River Song or Twice Upon a Time in my eyes anyway. I do agree that there are some things that feel like Stephen Moffat's greatest hits. There are mentions of his contributions to the show, like the whole Doctor Who franchise, I guess you could call it. There's a little mention of Weeping Angels. With Moffat, you get time-related shenanigans, bootstrap paradoxes, um, and some of these other things. Even throwing in an innuendo, so he's two for two with these innuendos that show up in this special and in Boom within this Russell T Davies 2 era. Here there's a line about flesh will rise, and it's like, do we really need to throw that in? But I don't think it's as quite as, it's still pretty bad, but not quite as bad as what the flesh cascade looked like in Boom. I mean, how could anyone not think that that looks off? So yeah, and there might have been another innuendo in that episode, but it's been forever, so I can't quite remember. But yeah, I'd also say, people have pointed out that Russell T Davies seems to be repeating himself as well. So you get Stephen Moffat repeating himself and Russell T Davies repeating himself. The fate of Joy at the end of this is similar to a previous story. And also how I guess the next companion works in a hospital. Like, that's what I've been hearing. And Ruby is blonde, name beginning with an R, and I think around the same age Rose was when her travels with the Doctor started. So I do understand those criticisms of, certain repeating patterns, and I do agree that there should be more new thrown into these stories, and that there should be more new creatives brought in, a new showrunner who's never done Doctor Who before after Russell T Davies' current era ends. But all that being said, I still really enjoyed this episode, or this special, I guess I should say. The idea of the time hotel is a really fun one. People pointed out, like, you see what looks like a door to a Hobbit home, so could be like those Hobbit hotels in New Zealand, or it could, you know, fit with people's head canons about Radagast being the seventh Doctor. But yeah, this idea of a time hotel and the kitchen is a half hour ahead with the cooking. Like, I thought this was really fun and really cool to see play out. And of course, the Doctor meets Joy during this intense situation where this Silurian has this briefcase, which we later learn is connected to that organization that also showed up in Boom. And, it has a star seed within it. So there's a lot going on, and to add further confusion, a future version of the 15th Doctor comes in and makes the past version feel very confused and locks him into this hotel room that Joy is in, which is in the year 2024. And the Silurian also dies, which is a bit disappointing when a really cool looking alien gets killed off and isn't seen for the rest of the thing, really. But after this, I gotta applaud the fact that this future Doctor idea, it's not set up for a payoff that'll happen a couple years down the line. Like, stuff like that was kind of neat during the 11th Doctor's era. And Chris's specials during the 11th Doctor's era kind of run together for me. They all felt kind of generic. Although I really loved his speech at the end of Time of the Doctor. But yeah, I do applaud how the setup and payoff are within this same special. So this past version of the 15th Doctor gets trapped in 2024, and Joy is gone, and so he has to wait until 2025, which is when he'll have access in this hotel, and be able to get to his TARDIS and whatnot, and be able to say the code that he heard his future self say. And again, this is like a bootstrap paradox thing where the information doesn't have a clear point of origin, it just exists. So it's one of those deals. And so he stays around for about a year, and does some maintenance work, hangs out with the manager Anita, and people really took to this character. I thought she was really fun, and I kind of worried that maybe she would develop romantic feelings for the Doctor. But whether or not she has them, there's never any acting on those feelings. I quite like that they're hanging out, vibing, playing games, and it made the goodbye between them feel very emotional. And going back to the whole thing of Russell T repeating himself, or his era repeating the first his first era, I guess I should say. I do kind of wonder if this could be a case where someone introduced in the second Christmas special becomes a companion in the current Doctor's third series. So, thinking back to Donna and how that whole thing played out with the 10th Doctor. So I'd love to see that happen. I don't know if that's the case. Sometimes one-off characters are introduced and we're like, man, how come they couldn't have become the companions? But I do hope we at least get to see Anita in some capacity in the future, even if it's Big Finish audios. But yeah, the Doctor catches up to, becoming the future self, giving his past self the code and locking himself in. Ends up with Joy, who is being controlled, but stuff happens. They end up on a train, and I saw some people, or maybe just one person, say that it kind of feels weird that they don't explain how the doctor got to the top of the train. That didn't really bother me, but it kind of reminded me of the Community Christmas episode, Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, where within the stop motion world and Abed's mind, we see the characters teleport to the top of the train. But yeah, it didn't really bother me. I'm sure he was able to climb up there somehow. And it made for a nice visual, Also, Orient Express, another reference there, not just literary, but, it made me think of Mummy on the Orient Express. And in the end, Joy uses the star seed and basically becomes a star. And where they end up and where she is when she shines bright as a star, it's revealed that this is year one, CE or AD if you'd prefer. And I'm sure there was some eye rolling during that moment. It's in Bethlehem, so tying into the biblical aspects of Christmas. And I was whatever about this. It's fine ending like this, but it does feel like something that Stephen Moffat would do. Overall, I thought this was a fun special. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, probably around where I'd rate the Christmas special last year, The Church on Ruby Road. I saw some people say this was way better than that, but I really like both of these for different reasons. Church on Ruby Road was great for setting up the Doctor and Ruby's travels and, having goblins singing. This one is great as one of those standalone specials. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens in season two of the 15th Doctor's era. It can't come soon enough. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on Joy to the World. I hope you enjoyed it, but if not, there's more Doctor Who, not just on TV, but also audios and occasionally comics. I feel like the comics output hasn't been that substantial as it was several years ago, and but also prose fiction, so there's more Doctor Who all around. But yeah, here's to looking forward to what comes in 2025. Thanks for tuning in, and see you all soon.